Hi, parents. I hope you're doing well. Here we are 4 months into worshiping from home. And maybe some of you are at the point where you're thinking, I don't know how to keep my child engaged in worship any longer. Due to the uncertainty of this time, we're unsure as to when we'll be able to all gather together again on Sunday mornings. So for the time being, we'll continue to have smaller gatherings at church, and a lot of you will continue to worship from home. So it's in this short video that I want to give you some simple practices that you can do to help enhance your at-home worship experience. The first thing is by lighting a Christ candle. So find any candle from your house. And when your family sits down to watch the worship service, whenever that may be, start by lighting the candle. There we go. And as you light the candle, you can remind your children that this symbolizes Christ's presence with us while we worship, even though we are apart. Okay, number 2. In the liturgy, we have a part called Confession and Assurance, where we confess our sins to God and we hear His words of forgiveness to us. During that time, make sure your kids have some paper and something to write with. And when it's time to confess our sins, have them write down or draw a picture on the piece of paper of some of their sins. So I'll write this down. Okay, there you go. Now, when we get to the point of assurance, where we learn that Jesus forgives our sins, have your kids take that piece of paper and rip it up. This can remind them that their sins are completely gone, that Jesus has forgiven them of all their sins. All right, the third practice you can do is after or during the sermon, ask your kids some I wonder questions. I wonder questions begin with the words I wonder, and they help trigger your child's imagination and to get them to think outside of the box. So for this coming Sunday, as we look at Psalm 1, an I wonder question could be, I wonder what Psalm 1 means when it says people delight in God's law. Or it could be something like, I wonder where David was when he wrote this psalm. Do you think he was in a garden? Those questions can get you and your kids thinking a little bit more about what we've talked about in church. Now, of course, there are countless other resources and practices that you can do as you worship at home. And in the description below, you can find a link to some of the ones I've found really useful. So that would be to follow Faith Formation Ministries from the Christian Reformed Church on social media. They have all kinds of tips and ways in which you can engage your children during this time of COVID. The second one is to read the book Parenting in the Pew by Robbie Castleman. So you can find a link to the book there in the description. And the third thing would be to read a collection of articles from the Christian Reformed Church network page. These articles range in anywhere from how to talk to your kids about a time of loss during COVID, to how to worship at home, to some fun activities you can do during the week. So I encourage you to check those resources out. And it's my hope that together we can come together, even though we're apart, and worship the King.